This time on Casino Royale with cheese.
This fucking cable car is nonstop.
No.
Goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Time, yeah.
Like, how much traffic could
What's
that thing...
going on?
Yeah.
Are you guys getting groceries or what? You know?
He carried it up one bag at a time.
Right, you know. Just this one dude, and he's like, his arms are fucking full of shit. He's like, I thought I was going to get it all in one trip.
And now, the conclusion.
Houston, we have a problem.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Silent breed is people!
Yo, Adrian! I did it! Let's put a smile on that face.
I gotta warn you, Clark. They don't play the same games here as they do at them regular casinos.
Royale, too.
Smell good, don't they?
Live from our studios somewhere inside the Matrix, it's Casino Royale with cheese, starring your host, who would undoubtedly take the blue pill, Shane Burns.
Thank you. I am happy to have the blue pill. I can live in ignorance. My name is Shane. Oh yeah. And I am half of the team that makes up Casino Royale with Cheese, the internet show where we discuss movies that were number one at the box office exactly 20 years ago. Today's episode is number 63. 63. And once again, my name is Shane. Today I'm joined by Mr. Chandler, otherwise known as Mike.
That's what they call me around here, Mr. Chandler.
Mr. Chandler.
Mr. Chandler, may I have some cookies? That's how I make my daughter ask for stuff.
Yep. Hey, you know what? That's a good way to butter somebody up right there. That's just good manners. She will use that through her life. But, by the way, I was making a reference to Hugo Weaving, the Mr. Chandler, Agent Smith. Yeah. And let me just say, that dude is awesome in this movie. BT Dubs.
He does play a very good Agent Smith. There's no doubt about that.
He really does. It's iconic. Everybody's going to have to excuse me today, by the way. The allergy, like pollen, whatever the fuck is in the air, is just kicking my ass, man. So I sound a little raspy, but I'm sure you guys don't mind. Still sexy as hell. So
my recording is acting wonky. Hopefully it's getting everything good.
Yeah, that would be good.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Me and Mike might have to do this again. So, actually, no. If that's the case, then we're just gonna roll with it because that's what we had to do with You Got Mail. So, turnabout's fair play there, Mike.
There you go.
Just saying. Anyway, what are we? How are you, by the way?
Man, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I had a weekend. So my good friend, the Hoods, they came down from Kansas City, and they roll, 6 deep, 7 deep, 2 dogs.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but they're awesome. We had a blast. Took
Sure.
the kiddos to the Science Museum.
I'm going to say this. So me and Dwayne, we went and saw the Amazing Spider-Man 2 back in the day. Excuse me.
Oh, boy.
We had a great time, and I'm one of the few people that actually really enjoyed that movie. So I thought it was great.
I also had some of my other family members who I will leave their names left out of for the purposes of the podcast. But one of them almost died.
Yeah?
Yeah. In the middle of the night, crashed into a bathtub.
Heard she woke up with blood all over her face. And
It was pretty rough.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
I'm glad she's okay.
Yeah. Dude, I, on the other hand, whenever we get to the segment of the show where we discuss what we watched during the week, I ain't going to have a whole lot to say because I have been crazy busy working. So,
Oh, same.
dude, it's nuts, man.
Between
nuts.
working and the house guests, I didn't watch shit this week.
Oh, yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, I saw a couple things, but we worked, usually I do 410s. This week we did 410s and 2 8s, so like it's just been nuts.
Overtime.
Yeah, the overtime's nice, but like yesterday, for example, I got up at 4:30 in the morning to get to work, and then after I laid the kids down and did the editing for the video and wrote the summary and all that stuff, it was like 2 o'clock. I was up for almost 24 hours straight.
Holy shit!
It was crazy, man. Just a crazy week, but hopefully things simmer down a little bit there in the near future. So.
Well, we have a good way to cap off the week because this week we're talking about Matrix.
The Matrix! 20 years old. Happy birthday, Matrix. You are awesome.
You deserve all 20 years.
Yeah. Still looking good after 20 years, too, sir. Hadn't aged a day.
So many things I want to say.
Yes, sir. Who is in this movie, Mike?
Keanu
Reeves, my man. I am
Lawrence
so
Fishburne.
Oh, Lawrence Fishburne. And you know what? He's great in this movie. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say I'm gonna try to refrain from discussing the sequels, but excuse me again. I think that I am gonna bring up some sequel stuff just as a comparison to why this movie is better than the ones that came after it.
Well,
and
I don't want to spoil the podcast we're going to do in 4 years.
Well, we do have that to look forward to. That's going to be an interesting episode, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think this might actually be the first trilogy that we've watched that we really are getting to like watch all the installments in order, actually, just through natural means.
As a natural part of the show?
Yeah, just chronologically. So
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. But what I was saying about Lawrence Fishburne, though, is that he actually, I think, he's definitely got more character in this than he does in some of the other movies. But just little stuff he does, he almost seems kind of playful toward the beginning of the movie when he's interacting with Neo over the phone, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But later on in the movies, in the second, third installments, he just is there to randomly babble on some open-ended philosophic bullshit that doesn't have an answer. It's just there to pose an unnecessary question. And you're like, go the fuck away, dude. You suck. These characters are horrible in those movies, but they're really good here. So,
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Keanu, who plays Neo.
Yes.
Do you know that almost didn't happen?
I heard Will Smith almost got it.
It was Will Smith that pitched the movie first. They went to him first. They wanted him.
Didn't he leave to do iRobot or some shit like that?
No, he turned it down because of the pitch.
Well, how did they pitch it? Must have been a horrible pitch.
They basically walked in like, dude, we're going to revolutionize movies, man. And it's going to be like bullets and you're going to dodge them. And then you're going to jump in the air and the cameras are going to spin around you 360. And we're working on this new camera rig for it. It's going to be amazing. And he was like, no thanks. I'm going to go do Wild Wild West.
Oh, my God. So what's funny about that?
It was one of the biggest mistakes he's ever made. But...
well, yeah.
He wouldn't change it for anything because Keanu Reeves is awesome and Lawrence Fishburne was awesome. And if Will Smith would have got the Neo part, what's his name?
They would have got a different...
Lawrence Fishburne would have been... what's his name? Morpheus. Morpheus would have been played by an old white guy.
That's kind of what I was thinking. They probably wouldn't have had two black leads in the movie like that and then a white woman. For some reason, it just doesn't strike me as something they would have done back then.
No, they wouldn't have. And it was already like they already had their list of actors they were going for the Morpheus role.
Right.
And I don't recall off the top of my head, but none of them were black men. They were all old white guys.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm trying to think of who I would have picked at that point to do something like that. Because a white guy that's old but doesn't look horrible. You don't want like George Carlin up there, you know.
So a completely different movie.
Yeah, or fucking you know, like Marlon Brando, who just looked like fucking shit toward the end of his life. I'm thinking who else? I'm thinking of an old white guy that would maybe like a Warren Beatty at the time or something like that, you know? I don't know.
Sean Connery.
But he's kind of too old to be like kung fu fighting with Will Smith, you know? He's going to straight up get his ass whooped. But
I'm glad it worked out the way it did. It definitely relaunched Keanu Reeves' career.
Yeah. Yeah, he was kind of on the DL after this. We
hadn't seen him for a long time.
I want to say since like Bram Stoker's Dracula, he hadn't really done too much. And he only had a smaller role in that. But yeah, I'm really glad. I think that everybody here does a good job. Keanu Reeves is kind of an easy target if you're, you know, wanting to have a fucking quick laugh about somebody that's not a very good actor. But man, I think Keanu Reeves is really an entertaining dude. And I actually really think that he's kind of like a down-to-earth guy. I think that maybe he's not going to win any Oscars, but he is all about like doing his own fighting and gunplay and all that other shit in these movies. Like he puts a lot into it, you know, regardless.
Well, I know for The Matrix, he did take like a bunch of kung fu classes.
Yeah, they trained for like 8 or 10 months or something crazy
and
like that.
And then he did the same thing with the jiu-jitsu and the close quarters marksmanship stuff for John Wick.
Yeah.
He went to like a 6-month boot camp doing that. And like he still competes at close.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. He still goes out to ranges and all that stuff. And yeah, It was nuts. I was just watching a video about him today, and these people, they were flying out of LA and they had to stop like 2 hours away or whatever because apparently their plane was malfunctioning or something like that. And they had the option to either wait for another plane or they would take a van that the airport would hire to like drive them back to LA to take another plane out. And sure enough, they got stuck on this flight with Keanu Reeves. And so they rode all the way back and they're just talking about sports, you know, and shit like that, you know, eating Carl's Jr. with Keanu Reeves and shit the whole way.
Yeah. When he's in New York City, he still like rides the subway with the public and stuff.
Yeah. He's a super chill guy. I kind of feel bad for him because I guess there was some deal where he had dated this woman and they had a daughter together, and the daughter wound up dying, and then his ex wound up dying in a car wreck or some shit, and supposedly really fucked with him pretty bad, which is understandable. So I don't know, but it sucks.
What's the name of the actress that plays Trinity?
Carrie-Anne Moss.
She kills it.
Dude, she's really good. Really good. In this movie, later movie, she's garbage. But here she's awesome.
I don't know if I'm familiar with the rest of her work.
Oh, okay. No, I mean in the later Matrix movies. But, yeah.
Okay.
No, actually, whenever this is the first thing that I really ever noticed her in. And then after this, the movie Memento came out with, it was directed by Christopher Nolan and all that shit. Mm-hmm. And I love that movie. That's one of my favorites. And
it's a great movie.
Oh yeah, fantastic. And so after that, and actually Joe Pantoliano shows up in that one too, Cypher. So, but yeah, after she showed up in that movie, I was thinking like, dude, this chick is hot shit. You got to keep an eye on her. And then she went on to do that movie Red Planet with Val Kilmer and fucking what's that dude, Tom Sizemore, where like they're on Mars and they can breathe because there's some kind of algae growing there, and like the robot from their ship wants to kill him, and I was like, I don't think she's that hot anymore. that burned out pretty quick, but
she was awesome in this.
Yeah, she was great.
Every character in this movie, because we only have a half a dozen or so characters.
Not a whole lot show up, no. I mean, I guess there are a lot of people, but they don't have any screens. Like the other agents, they don't fucking matter at all.
We don't even know their names.
Yeah. I mentioned Joe Pantoliano, he plays Cypher. I mentioned Hugo Weaving plays Agent Smith, and the other that I thought I'd bring up is Gloria Foster, the Oracle, who is awesome. Oh, yeah. She's great in this movie. Mm-hmm. Once again, next movie not so much. Scene. But yeah.
Her whole scene was good.
But she's great in it though. So
yeah.
Apparently she'd been around acting for a while. I don't think I've ever seen any other works of hers, but she was quite a figure in Hollywood there up until her death. So,
well, even the kid who played what was that, like tow truck or what the hell was the name?
Oh,
those two brothers.
Isn't it Tank and Dozer?
Yeah, Tank and Dozer.
Yeah, I like
Tank
Tank's
did a
cool.
great job.
Yeah, the one that does all the computer operating and stuff.
Yeah,
dude, I think that's Tank, isn't it?
yeah, that's Tank.
Yeah, he's great. I love that dude.
You can see like genuine emotion in his face in a couple of different scenes. It's really good.
Well, he's one of the few characters that kind of jokes around and messes around with him and stuff too, you know. So it's one of those, everybody's running around being so serious, and he's the one that'll kind of like fucking crack wise every so often. So,
well, and he's one of two people that's in the show that's never been in the Matrix.
yeah, absolutely.
Him and his brother.
It's to me that would be so weird to be putting people into this program that you can see the code, but you can't actually see what it looks like, you know, because that would be, you know, the next best thing to actually seeing like a blue sky, you know, or the fucking sun. And but he can't look at it. He can't go in. I don't know. Sucks.
So how many weeks was this? I think I know how many weeks this thing was number one.
Let me first blow your mind here, Michael. Do you dare to take a stab at how much the budget was for this thing? I just want you to take a guess.
Well, I know it was ridiculous because they had to develop the cameras for that bullet time, I think is what they called it.
Yes, they did.
So they had the cameras for those scenes where you get the 360 view around Neo and Trinity and stuff. Those things didn't exist before the Matrix.
So what does that tell you budgetarily?
I would say $300-400 million.
Dude, this is so crazy. The production budget for this movie, $63 million.
Wow.
Isn't that disgusting? What the fuck were they doing with Lethal Weapon 4? And what's that fucking witch thing that we watched? The fucking that Sandra Bullock thing. Fucking whatever. Yeah.
Everything Sandra Bullock was in back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
6 Degrees, though. We got Keanu and Sandra Bullock.
Right.
And Speed.
Oh, yeah. That is true. I wonder how Kevin Bacon fits in all that. So I
don't know.
Anyway, this thing...
That's incredible, by the way.
Yeah. Well, just to think of how iconic this movie was, because there weren't that many copycat movies per se. I mean, there was a whole like subgenre of movies back then that was like the hacker genre, you know. But this really didn't have that many copycats. It had more parodies really than anything. And
it was a mold breaker.
Right. It was definitely it was crazy. And I think that maybe a lot of the action scenes were copied later on after this, but not plot-wise necessarily. Anyway, do you dare to guess how many weeks it was number one?
I'm pretty sure it was 4.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong. I'm pretty sure it was 3. So.
Oh,
you were so close.
I was so confident too.
So confident and wrong. Do you dare to guess how much it brought in the U.S. total?
$750 million.
Oh no.
I don't know.
No, I think you're thinking modern day money. This isn't Captain Marvel or the Black Panther. No, this brought in $171,479,000. So in the U.S., it almost brought back 3 times as much money, but then it went on to bring $463 million in the worldwide. So it definitely.
So they cleared $400 million.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
4.5. Yeah. And I'm going to say this too, bro. So in regard to the whole situation with Will Smith, I can definitely understand his apprehension whenever they pitched him that deal. You know, it sounds like a couple of idiots that have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Dude, we just made this fucking cool shit, you know?
I'm glad you picked up on me doing that, and I wasn't just like, that's how Will Smith said it went down.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, you can watch, there's an actual video of Will Smith talks about getting pitched this and turning it down and everything I said, but he does a lot better job of doing it.
Right.
But he said it just sounded like a couple of dudes who are crazy, wanted to do some weird story about living in a simulation,
Right.
and all these special effects, and he was like, I'm out.
I don't blame him, but nobody could have, based upon that, had any idea how this movie was going to turn out. So, that's whatever.
Can you picture anyone else as Neo?
Oh, no. Absolutely
Exactly.
not. And Keanu Reeves, once again, not a great actor, but he's pretty much tied to this. The other one I was going to say is in regard to the Hugo Weaving, is I've seen that dude in some other stuff. He popped up in The Lord of the Rings. He popped up in The Hobbits. And he also showed up as the Red Skull and all that other stuff. Because he was so good in this, though, in my mind, I cannot distance him from this role. Anytime he opens his mouth, that's all I can think of is Agent Smith.
I don't know if it was coaching or if he did it on his own, but he spoke with such a slow,
like a
deliberate
cadence. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, ooh, that's good.
It was very computerized, so I'll give it that, Let's do a summary real quick.
Yeah, let's do that.
The Wachowskis' The Matrix, released March 31st, 1999, was the runaway action movie to kick off the summer. It features a cast comprised of Hollywood's B-list and a notably grade A for effort. Thomas Anderson is a computer programmer by day, light sleeper, computer hacker by night, known as Neo. After following a customer of his to a local club, he is soon contacted by Trinity, a woman with a notorious online reputation that says he is being tracked by agents and that he is in danger. The following day at his office, he is apprehended by agents. No big shock there. They proceed to offer to make a deal with him, his freedom in exchange for any information he has regarding an online terrorist known as Morpheus. Neo declines and demands a phone call. The agents then make his mouth disappear and put a tracking device in his belly button. Yes, that really happened. He awakens later to a call from Morpheus telling him that he wants to meet him. Morpheus's bitches grab Neo and take out the tracking device. After arriving, Morpheus offers Neo the opportunity to show Anderson what the Matrix is, but to do so, it would forever change his life in the form of a red pill. His other option is a blue pill, which will put him to sleep, and he'll wake up in his bed. Because the movie isn't even close to over yet, Neo takes the red pill and begins hallucinating until he awakens in a pod filled with gelatinous goo. He notices similar pods side by side as far as he can see. It's around this time a robot accosts him and decides it's time for Neo to cut the cord. Neo gets to take a ride down the world's most awkward water slide, and after he gets to the bottom, he is brought up to Morpheus's ship/claw machine, the Nebuchadnezzar. It is here we are finally given an explanation for this insanity. Apparently, it's no longer present day, and the human race is actually 200 years further into the future than we realize. Sometime in the past, humans created artificial intelligence, which soon waged war on humanity, as is often the case. During the turmoil, humans got the idea to deplete the computer's solar energy options by blocking their access to the sun. The computers/robots decided the humans' natural electrical charge and thermal energy would be a good substitute instead. So the machines rounded up humans, stuck them into energy-sucking pods, and put their minds in a shared simulation system called the Matrix to keep them occupied. It simulates the real world circa 1999. The added benefit of this, though, is that once you are awakened from the Matrix, you can now treat the Matrix almost as a lucid dream, playing fast and loose with physics. The one major drawback, though, is that agents, the guys from the beginning of the film, can take over the form of anybody that is still plugged into the Matrix. Literally almost anyone could turn into an agent at any time. Morpheus reveals to Neo, however, that he thinks Neo is quote-unquote the One, a reincarnated being that can change the physics and the reality of the Matrix, someone who can defeat the machines and humans will be free. Morpheus takes Neo to go see the Oracle, the person who conceived the prophecy of the One, and she promptly tells him he is not it. Unfortunately for everyone but Cypher, a member of their team, dimed them out to the agents. Apparently he was unhappy with his plight in the real world, and made a deal with the agents to be reinserted back into the Matrix in exchange for Morpheus, since Morpheus has access to the codes for Zion, the last human city. Cypher exits the Matrix and proceeds to kill the ship's crew, but is stopped by a crewman he presumed dead before he can kill Trinity and Neo. While Morpheus is being interrogated, Neo concocts a plan to rescue him, to which Trinity declines. She feels that if he is the one, he should be fully trained before going out on such a mission. Neo tells her that he isn't the one, so they do the thing. After shooting their way through a building, Morpheus is in and obtaining a helicopter. Neo saves Morpheus, and Trinity crashes the now damaged helicopter that they had stolen. Morpheus, after seeing Neo rescue Trinity from the explosion, is convinced that he is the one, and the Oracle just told Neo what he needed to know. The three make their way to an exit from the Matrix. Trinity and Morpheus leave, but the exit is destroyed by an agent. The two fight. Then Neo is chased by agents through town until one of them puts a bullet in his guts. Trinity in the real world is monitoring Neo, and after he dies, she kisses him. Sleeping Beauty rules dictate the main character is alive again, so he awakens, now realizing he is able to outmaneuver the agents and stop their bullets entirely. He then jumps into an agent's body, destroying him. The film wraps up with Neo leaving a threat on the agent's voicemail like a disgruntled ex. This film stars Ted Theodore Logan and Cowboy Curtis.
Yeah.
Yup.
Was that the first time you've ever read that?
Was that?
Was that the first time you've ever read that?
Yes. Well,
and reading it like someone else wrote it.
It was super late whenever I wrote it, and so like some of the sentences they didn't quite make sense. So I'm trying to like go through and edit them and read them and fix them while I can, before they come out of my mouth. So that didn't work out too well.
You did a good job. We got the gist of it.
Well, there's a guy and some bad computers, and he kills them. So that's all you need. Anyway,
so.
Movie.
You got some things you want to talk about in the movie?
Well,
particulars?
Why don't you tell me? Have you ever seen this before, Mike?
I have.
Okay, once maybe.
Couple times, but like back when it came out
20 years ago. Yeah. Maybe 19.
And it was one of those movies I always tell myself like I need to watch that again, and just never get around to it.
Are you really? This is the first time you've seen it in 20 years?
I don't know about 20, but maybe 15.
It's been a long time. Really?
Yeah.
Because I've seen this movie a fucking ton of times. It seems like.
You and I have already established. This is our 63rd episode. We have already established that you don't mind watching movies over and over again, and I like to watch movies once and be done.
Yeah, I guess it's true. I just love it. I mean, so the funny thing about it is because I was in high school, so I had a lot of time to kill because I wasn't doing no homework. But what's crazy about it is, so I watched this movie lots of times. Dude that I was in ceramics class with,
class.
Yeah, we made clay pots and shit. It was fun, man.
Ashtrays.
Yeah, I made one that was, I call them the potato people. I was just bullshitting because I was sick for like the first week that we were doing this project. And so, like, I made these dudes that look like potatoes, and they just, like, stand there. My teacher loved it. He put it in an art contest. Fucking figure that out. But,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Anywho, now I've seen this a lot, and the dude that I was pretty good friends with in that class, he was saying, The Matrix is one of those movies that each time that you watch it, it gets worse. And at the time, I could kind of see that. Like, the novelty is kind of gone. But I'm going to say this. I watched it last night for probably the first time in a good 5 or 6 years at least. And so it was all pretty fresh. As fresh as a movie could be that I've seen 1,000 times probably. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a blast watching this movie. I think the action's good. Story's good.
I as well.
Yeah.
I really did have a great time watching this. I'm really glad that it had been so long since I'd seen it because I forgot so much about it.
Oh, really?
Like, I forgot that this movie's runtime is 2 hours and 16 minutes.
Yep.
I forgot for the first hour and 40 minutes, not a whole lot happens.
For the first hour 40?
Yeah.
I could kind of... Dude, they have some pretty fucking big-ass world building to do in this movie. They are asking you to swallow a big pill, with this thing. So they got to do a lot of exposition to get that, to get you on board. So I can kind of see why it takes so long. But it's interesting.
It is. It's an interesting story. I'm not knocking it, but I'm like, come on, man. When are we gonna get into like some shit here?
I fucking got it already. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're in a simulation next.
Right.
But once that hour 40 mark comes around, holy shit! Put on your seatbelt. It's nonstop action for the remainder of the movie.
Dude, it's a roller coaster till the end. Definitely.
That shootout at the first floor of the building that they're holding Morpheus in is awesome.
Still to this day, that stands up. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The helicopter scene,
awesome. Oh, and I love when it hits the building and it like ripples like water before it explodes. It's one of those things that you're like, that wasn't necessary, but it fucking looked awesome. So whatever.
Yeah. Well, and glass buildings do that. You just don't see it.
Oh, okay.
It happens. Everything flexes before it breaks.
Right. Of course.
But, in real time, you don't notice that shit. But if you slowed it down to bullet time, you do see that.
Yeah. There you go.
The fight with Agent Smith in the subway, awesome.
It was awesome. Oh, and I love... because they almost wanted to make it look like a Western. So instead of tumbleweeds blowing by, they made it newspapers. And you're like, ooh, here we go.
Oh, they definitely wanted it to be a Western because like you even get like the hand crack. Like,
oh, yeah. Yeah, they're just building the suspense on that.
That was sick. The chase scene I didn't really like so much. I don't know why. It just didn't really work for me. It didn't really build the tension.
They're just chasing him through town or whatever?
Yeah. It didn't really build tension for me.
That's not really the way, because in my mind, if you're trying to build on something, what you do is a chase scene first, and then you have them fight. Basically, you get him like cornered somewhere where Agent Smith gets like the drop on him, and now they have to fight instead of, we'll do a fight scene first, and then they're going to run around. Well, I don't really care about that so much, You
know what, though? They redeem themselves with the hallway in the apartment building.
We get 2 really decent hallway scenes actually right there at the end. So
when he jumped inside of Smith, I was like, what the fuck just happened?
They went off the deep end on a movie that's already pretty far gone. So yeah.
I like how the other 2 agents were like, oh shit, and they hauled ass.
They just bolted. Fuck it. We're done. One thing I like in this movie is They accomplished a lot in the first scene of the movie whenever Trinity's on the phone and she's talking to Cypher in case you didn't notice. And she's like, is this line clean? Did you hear that? And he's like, yeah, it's good. And so they already established something might be up with this Cypher guy.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. And so then they establish after we're introduced to Trinity that the cops are up there. And they do a great job of going through and establishing the idea that these agents are just super formidable. And that, like, basically, the agent even tells them, your cops aren't badass enough to take this girl out. We're the only people that are badass enough to fucking take her out, And so then right after that, we get to see Trinity do some cool shit. Like she does the jump, this jumping swan kick that's all slow-mo-y and 360 and all that.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, that's kind of neat. And then we get to see her like run on the walls and shit. And then we're like, oh, so she's got like superpowers. That's cool. And then you're like,
she dives from one building to another through a window.
She's jumping all over the fucking place,
Yeah.
So we're not getting like a full taste of like these people's extra abilities necessarily, but they are laying the groundwork. Like, no, they can do some cool shit. And then you're like, well, if these agents are capable of maybe taking her out, then these guys are badass, And then we see later Cypher, they keep building it up because Cypher's like, yo, if you see an agent, don't fucking fight him. You need to just get the fuck out of Dodge,
Just run.
Right. And so, it's one of those that they established that an agent could be anybody at any time because they can randomly take over anybody's body, which is fucking crazy. How paranoid would you be,
Well, and Morpheus tells us that nobody who has ever attempted to fight an agent survived.
Yeah, no, nobody did. And it's nuts because whenever you get to see it play out, it actually kind of lives up to that expectation, which is awesome. And I do like how they keep gradually showing us what some of these different powers are and these different abilities, like in the kung fu scene, and then we get to see him like jump all the way from one fucking building to another, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what is this, And then finally the whole thing culminates at the very end, because he actually tells Neo, he says, he's like, you mean I'll be able to dodge bullets? And Morpheus is like, whenever you've unlocked your mind, then you won't have to. And I remember the first time I saw this thinking, well, what the fuck does that even mean? But then we get to see it play out at the end of the movie where he's able to hold out his hand, and stop the bullets. And you're just like, wow, this is...
Well, and he can be shot several times to survive.
He can. He can indeed. But the end of that, getting to see him fully realize his abilities is kind of like the grand finale to this whole thing. It's pretty great. So...
And for me, I feel like that should have been the end of the movies, or like we shouldn't have a franchise.
No, I agree. This would have been a fine standalone movie.
Well, the only reason I say that is because at the end of the movie, we see him unlock all these powers, right?
Right.
Like, just become unbeatable.
Right.
And to the point that the unbeatable are now scared of him.
Yes.
And then at the end, after he leaves a voicemail, he takes off like he's Superman.
And he flies away. And
yeah,
he says,
so who the fuck's going to beat that guy?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And he's like, this isn't the end. This is just the beginning or whatever. But still, even a cryptic line like that, I could see that still being like, basically, they're going to win the war now. So...
Well, and they drive home the point that he's the one so often.
Sure.
That he's not going to die. He can't die.
Of course.
He's the one.
Of course. But then he does in the third movie, so figure that out.
The lore of I don't know if I've ever seen the third one, honestly.
It's very, very bad. Not good at all.
It came out the same year as the second one, so it makes no sense.
It came out a year later. They kind of like Back to the Future did. But
according to my IMDb, they both came out in 2003.
Oh, did they? Oh, fuck. I didn't even realize they were that close together. Because I know I saw the first two, or I didn't see the first one in the theater. We rented the VHS back in the day. And then I saw the second one in the theater, and I was like, well, that was kind of different, I guess. I wasn't quite sure what to make of that. That movie still has some really cool action set pieces. But aside from that, I don't get much enjoyment out of that movie. And then the third one...
From number two, all I remember is the two albino dudes jumping from car to car and crushing them.
Yeah, and there was that really cool car chase that went on for like fucking 15 minutes. And that's pretty much all I like from it. So, and then the third one, you can keep it. That's fucking garbage. But anyway.
So, how much did you fall in love with Trinity in this movie?
Quite a bit until the movie went on down the road. Because her whole story about how she loves Neo and the Oracle told her that she's going to fall in love with the one and all that. I don't find their love story interesting at all. So
it's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary.
We didn't see anything building up to it.
No, there wasn't anything.
There was
building
no
up.
courtship.
No.
She brought him dinner once.
Yeah, she did. That was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing. So I like her. I don't like them together. So
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Like, she doesn't need to be the girl who's in love with the one. She's a fucking badass.
Yeah, she doesn't. There's this tendency anytime there's a woman in these movies to give her a love interest, and they could just be badasses, like, amicable badasses together. They're very friendly and professional.
She played that role perfectly without a love story until the phone booth.
Right, of course. Yeah,
and that's the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now we want to drop this love interest in it, and then she fucking Sleeping Beauty's his ass alive.
Right. I
was like, what? Even like, as much as I loved, like I said, everything past an hour 40, I was hooked. Okay.
Right.
But I was like, when she was like, but I'm supposed to be in love with the one, so you can't die, and she kisses him, and he comes back to life. I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
I kind of thought she was asexual up until that point. So,
I liked her that way.
Yeah. She doesn't need a love interest, but
She's one of those girls that you're really attracted to, but you never tell her because you don't even know if she likes guys.
Right, exactly. Especially that haircut.
She works it well.
She does. She does indeed. Well, that's kind of the thing too. Is and I know that this is going to be fucking geek central for you, but I like the TV show Battlestar Galactica, and there's a character on there named Kara Thrace who is Starbuck. And I love her character, but they always fucking hook her up with these fucking idiots on there. And it's never interesting. Why don't you just let her be awesome without having her fuck everything that moves? But anyway.
They're trying to Captain Kirk her.
Right. That could be it. One thing I wrote down, so much green. Lot of green in this fucking movie, dude.
Well, I know Morpheus's tie is green.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean the overall coloration of the movie just has a green hint to it. It just looks green as fuck. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I didn't notice.
There you go.
What do you think about would you have followed the White Rabbit?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have, definitely.
I would have followed that White Rabbit where the fuck she wanted to go.
Whoever told me to knows a whole lot about where I live and stuff like that. So I'm just going to follow that White Rabbit. And that's going to be that.
What do you think about the whole, mouth melting over in the bug scene?
It's pretty strange, but it doesn't tonally fit with the rest of the movie, I don't think. That's almost like some body horror stuff. And so, there's none of that other shit in the rest of this movie. That's all I'm going to say is I think it's pretty weird. It's effective, but I don't know. It's whatever.
Is it meant to show us how much Agent Smith can manipulate?
I don't know.
The Matrix?
Well, I had some questions about that too. So they're trying to, and I think I kind of figured it out last night, but they're trying to put a bug in Neo because Morpheus's bitches are going to take Neo to go see Morpheus, and so they're trying to track down Morpheus where he is. But my thing is once they awaken him from the Matrix, then he's going to no longer be in that virtual body of his. He's going to have a physical form that doesn't have a bug implanted into it. So you kind of only have that one shot before because he shows up and he takes the pill, and then right off the bat, just about, he starts hallucinating and shit. So you've got 3 or 4 minutes there where you're going to be able to go into that place and take him. Otherwise, the whole plan is fucked. But
yeah. You would imagine they're actively monitoring it, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, they can take over anybody's body. So some fucking hobo on the street, they could have him walk across the street and fuck him up, I guess. But I don't know.
Would you have taken the Advil or the NyQuil liquid gel cap?
I'd have gone with, oh man, I would just be super curious about what the fuck all this is about, dude. Is my thing. I don't really relish the idea of being the savior of humanity. That's a lot of fucking pressure. But I would have been super curious. So I probably took that fucking red pill, and then I would have hated my life for it. So what about you?
I definitely would have took the red pill. But not because he didn't know he was supposed to be some savior or anything like that.
Right. I wish if it were me, I would rather they told me that up front so that I could be like, I'm good. I don't want that. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I definitely would have took the red pill just to know, because I'm that dumb motherfucker who feels like he has to know everything.
Of course. It's human nature.
Can't tell you how many times I've asked someone to tell me something that they're not supposed to tell me, and then they tell me and I wish I didn't know.
Right. And then you're like, fuck, now I can't say anything to anybody.
Right.
I'm not even supposed to know.
And all I want to do is tell people.
Right. I need somebody to talk to about this. But
how did you feel on the pod reveal?
I was actually just going to talk about that. So I remember because my parents, like I've said before, were super guarded about the things that we watched. But for whatever reason, my dad got it in his head that he was cool with us watching The Matrix, which, to be fair, aside from it being pretty violent, it's actually not that hard of an R. They don't drop that many F-bombs. There's no sex scenes or nudity or anything.
It's just sci-fi.
Yeah, it's not even super bloody, really. So,
and we already know your dad's hardcore into sci-fi.
Yeah, he is. That being said, I remember when my dad watched this, when we're watching it. And then they get to the part where Neo takes the red pill and he like touches that mirror and pulls it back, and like the reflective glass starts traveling down his arm and down his throat. He wakes up in a fucking pod, and there's a giant robot that pulls this plug out, and he slides down this thing and all that. And I remember my dad going, what in the hell is this about? You know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was at when I first watched it. But, you know, obviously since then, I've studied this movie heavily, so I've seen it a lot. But
really?
Yeah. Were you pretty far out there, or did you remember that from before?
Oh, I remembered it from before, but seeing it again, even, I was like, whoa, holy shit. Like, whenever I watch movies, if they're good especially,
yeah,
I find myself constantly asking myself, like, what would you do in that situation?
Right.
And when I see this, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I would do in this situation.
Right. I don't even know what to say, you know.
And then he just gets flushed down the drains, you know?
Right. There's a giant-ass robot right there. How about that? I thought, one thing I wrote down, and I think that this is kind of funny. So we have, at the beginning of the movie, Trinity. So I mentioned in my summary the exit. And the way that they exit is they have to get a landline phone connection. Kind of like a dial-up modem or something like that. So they can transmit to the real world.
I kind of hate that gimmick, by the way.
It's aged badly. Very badly. And I thought about it today because you can't find a fucking payphone anywhere, you know. So you kind of be fucked. You're just in the Matrix for maybe weeks at a time, you know.
Well, their phones didn't have 4G network.
Oh, yeah. That's true, too. The LTE and all that shit. So they can just do it mobily now, which is awesome, yeah.
Way more convenient.
Right. Just upload into your phone. Then I would drop it. Yeah.
I could just call the operator, and he's like, all right, coming through.
What I think is crazy, though, is whenever she's headed to that phone booth to try to get out, you see that dump truck come out of nowhere, and he just like swings around, and then he like starts revving his engine and plows right toward the thing at the very beginning of the movie, and you're like, a dump truck, come the fuck on. But after you realize that these agents can turn into anybody, you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. He just took over like a dump truck driver's body so that he could smash up that phone booth. Yeah, so that makes sense. I wrote down, I haven't watched this movie in a long time, and I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying it.
I loved it. I had a blast watching it.
Yeah. Did you pick up on any of the religious allegory stuff there?
Yeah. The one, you think?
The one. And at the beginning of the
movie, he
movie,
died and came back to life?
Yeah. Even Neo is an anagram, like for one, you know?
Right.
But at the beginning of the movie, the guy that he's talking about mescaline that's got the girl with the white rabbit tattoo and all that, he like gives him a little 3.5-inch floppy, which I love in movies. And he like gives it to him. He's like, oh, you're my own personal savior. And you're like, oh, subtle, you know?
Yeah. What's the name? Why do I know the name of that ship? The
Nebuchadnezzar? Ship. That's also a biblical reference.
That's what I thought.
A king, Nebuchadnezzar, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yep. I also wondered, so that dude that goes to buy that floppy from him, his name's Troy, right? Is that guy no longer plugged into the Matrix, or do you know the story with him?
No, I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I don't know why he would be affiliated with them if he was still plugged in. I don't know what's up with that at all. But
I'm pretty sure it was just a vehicle to get him to the club.
Could be.
Because they can see, like, the Oracle can see, like, events and shit.
Oh, yeah. The future. She has, like, prophetic visions and shit. Yeah.
So she knew that there was going to be a girl with a white rabbit tattoo at his house.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Follow them.
Yeah. I did think it was funny because whenever he's like asleep at his computer at the beginning of the movie, and the computer like blanks out and that DOS screen starts talking to him. Mm-hmm. What's funny about that? The first thing he does is he like wakes up and he sees it and he hits Control X on his computer. I never hit Control X before on a computer, and I didn't know what it did. So I went ahead and punched in Control X right after he did that. It does nothing. So I don't know what he was expecting.
Really?
Yeah. That's fucking retarded, but I love it.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this out there. I did not like the dial-up phone, like part of the moving back and forth between worlds, but I did love the. I need a program to fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
So download that program for me real quick.
That was something I was gonna ask you. Would you trade off, having plugs in your head, like in the back of your head and on your arms and shit like that, if you could just have knowledge uploaded into your brain?
So, all right. So the real answer to this, and it's not going to be popular, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I do not give a fuck about a plug.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because we're lazy fucks.
That is true. If I can just absorb the knowledge without having to learn any of it,
or work at all,
fucking down for that. Yeah. Oh, look, I'm a doctor. That took fucking 30 seconds. Yeah.
It's because you and me both want to be smart and capable, but we don't want to be hardworking.
No, that's the worst.
Come from the soldier and the guy who does manual labor for a living.
Of course, yeah. I think having that thing ripped out of your belly button would fucking suck. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I don't think that would hurt nearly as bad as that thing in your fucking back of your head.
Oh, dude. Okay, so we need to talk about those fucking plugs, because he has. So in the movie, I don't know why I'm talking like this. Everybody's seen the fucking Matrix, but anyway, so on the back of his neck, he has this outlet that they plug into. That's what they use as an interface to hook him up to the computer system, where they can download knowledge into his brain. He can go into the Matrix. He can go into other programs that they've created, things like that. So anyway, this interface, though, has a big fat like spike on it that's probably 6 or 8 inches long.
Yeah, it's big.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, I know you've got an interface on the back of your neck. Everybody can see that. But you're still getting stabbed in the neck, bro. So I don't know how they're not dying from this.
I'm guessing it's going to a spot that previously was taken up by the other cable that was hooked up to him.
Something.
It's the only way I could justify it in my head. I don't know.
I mean, I can only assume that they're trying to plug that directly into like his spinal cord, so it'll affect his neuropathic whatever that goes to his brain. But yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
But his spinal cord is right where that plug is. Like, it doesn't have to be very long.
No.
What's the deal with the woman in the red dress?
Nothing.
They're supposed to be.
Well, that dude Mouse or whatever his fucking name is created her. Mm-hmm. And from what I can tell, that's pretty much it. He's got like a deal where I guess he has a printout of her or whatever, but
he's trying to like cyber pimp her.
That's all, yeah. He's like, hey, go to the program, you can fuck her, you know.
But she is supposed to be representative of something, and I can't remember what the heck it was. But she's supposed to be a metaphor for something, and I don't remember what it is.
Maybe it's whenever Jesus was fasting and he wasn't eating and the devil was trying to tempt him or something. I have no idea.
Okay.
Fair enough. Something.
I didn't know that buildings had wet walls.
Had wet walls.
That's what they call that wall that they climb down.
Like the scaffolding or whatever?
No, the wall that has all the plumbing in it. I guess it's called a wet wall.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That was kind of weird to me because walls are like that. They are obviously hollow in between, but usually the studs, especially in a building like that, like, so I do construction work. And we're working on a building, and the studs are probably, maybe, I would say no more than a foot apart. So you're not going to have 3 people that are crawling up this fucking thing in between the studs. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. So
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. What were those spider things that were crawling around when they showed them harvesting those eggs?
I don't know, some creepy monster machine thing. Sucking up babies growing from baby trees.
I don't know. That's pretty fucking gross, dude.
That scene, I'm not gonna lie, when they were harvesting the humans, did kind of disturb me a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. The one that the goofy CGI thing where it's like going and sucking up the eggs, that didn't fuck with me all that much. But the one that did bother me, I wrote down, whoever let them do that to their baby for a movie is a bad parent. I wrote down, like, they've got all these fucking plugs and shit hooked up to this real life baby, and they put them in
That's
this
not
coffin.
a real life baby.
That was a real baby, dog.
It was not a real baby.
You don't think so?
No.
I hope you're right.
It had about 30 fucking plugs into its body.
Well, I figured it was all just fucking Stan Winston fucking visual effects, or Jim Henson or somebody, you know?
The Muppets guy?
Right, yeah. He worked on Muppets Take Manhattan and The Matrix, so there's that.
There you go.
Yeah. I said, unlike the other Matrix movies, this one is well written. I do like the late 90s moodiness. Feels like all the sci-fi movies around that time felt like they had to be like super moody like this and stylized. And
I like the style.
yeah, I'm a sucker for it. It's gimmicky, but I like it.
If I was built like Keanu Reeves and had a bank account like Keanu Reeves, I would dress just like Neo.
I like his jacket in this. He's wearing like that overcoat as opposed to the later movies where he's wearing like monk robes or some craziness. It's fucking stupid, but whatever.
Well, I can't even speak. As well as Trinity pulls off the all fucking patent leather outfits,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
does.
want to wear that.
No. I actually wrote down it would suck to have to run in that opening scene wearing that shit. What a load of bullshit. I'd be so pissed off.
Just a sweat factory.
Dude, that's why her fucking hair looks like that. It's not because they put hair crap in there. It's because she's fucking sweating her balls off, bro.
Yeah.
She was a dude before this movie until she just sweated her balls off. It's true.
All right.
Used to be Gary Ann Moss, but whatever. I wrote down, Neo makes it out there a ways when he's trying to jump to that other building before he falls. He made it out there a little ways, though. So
Yeah, he made it about as far as a regular person would.
Oh. He made it further than I would. Guaranteed.
You would just cannonball off the side of the building.
Right. Yeah. If I'm going to die, that's what's going to happen.
Cannonball.
I thought that the Nebuchadnezzar looked like shit from the inside and outside. Like,
I
that's
wouldn't
not
want to be in that thing at all.
No. That's not like a cool Millennium Falcon-y Enterprise. No, that thing's a fucking heap of shit, dude.
Well, we find out pretty quick why they didn't invest in that thing, because they tear it apart in the fucking end.
Yeah. No, they beat the shit out of it. I actually kind of like that whole thing. There's these Sentinel robots that basically are tracking them down. Oh, you don't like those?
No.
I think
the
they're
tentacle robots?
Yeah.
Why do they have tentacles?
Oh, I don't fucking know. The sperm bots.
Yeah, I don't
No idea. There were sperm bots in Terminator Salvation, too. That's fucking weird. Anyway. But with those goofy things, the only way that they can defeat them is with the electromagnetic pulse that fries, like, computer circuitry. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the movie, of course, Neo's still in the Matrix. Trinity and Morpheus are out. And so these they call them squiddies, I guess, because they have tentacles. And they wind up going through and finding the ship and all that shit, but they don't want to use the EMP because it'll fry their circuitry, therefore detaching Neo's brain from his body, essentially, because his body's in the simulation still. So there's that whole thing where he's got to try to fucking save the day and get the fuck out of there before those dudes tear the ship apart. I kind of like that little countdown. I thought it was cool. But
Well, it went on way too long.
it did.
Those squiddy machines were tearing the fuck out of that ship for a long time. And Neil's just fucking around beating up Agent Smith.
Right.
Just
In
pick up
slow
the phone,
motion.
man.
You haven't got time for slow motion, bro.
Yeah. I would
Hurry up.
stop the bullets. If I was Neo, I would stop the bullets, which is an awesome looking scene.
Yeah.
And then while the agents were all looking stunned, I would have ran over and answered the phone.
Right. There you go. At that point, you're not even worried about them. So what the fuck? Anyway.
Yeah.
That whole conversation that Neo has with Cypher. That conversation goes from bad to worse. Because the first thing he tells him is, he's like, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't I take the blue pill? And so Neo's like, oh, he didn't want to be part of this resistance movement. He's kind of just fucking stuck here. And so then he's like, well, you know, Morpheus thinks you're fucking badass, whatever. He's like, but, you know. The way the conversation opens, too, by the way, is we see him futzing around on the computer. As soon as he realizes Neo's there, he turns the computer screens off. So that's real good. And so then he's talking to Neo. He's like, yeah, well, you know, if anything, if you ever see an agent, don't try to fight him, just run. And that's about the time when Neo's like, you know what? This conversation blows. I'm out, dude. Here's your cup back, dog. But
I so would be Cypher in this movie.
being like, oh, yeah, the opportunistic, put me back in. I don't want to know anything.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Get me out of here, man. Make me rich.
For real. Yeah. That's it, man.
I've been living on this ship eating synthesized oatmeal for fucking however many years. And I'm in love with this chick who can't stand me, but is in love with the new guy.
Right. They always treat me like crap because I'm a screw up. Yeah.
But the new guy, air quotes, the one, comes in and everybody's just in love with his ass.
Can't even fucking jump over a building. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
That guy sucks. I love the Oracle. I think she's awesome. I love all of her dialogue in this movie. Not the other movies. Fucking sucks. But, let's see.
I think we covered it.
Yeah, let's
Unless you got something you really want to throw out there.
Well, so there's a couple things I do want to talk about. First of all, I was so tired yesterday, believe it or not. I was watching this movie. I fell asleep. I wake up, and they're on top of the building whenever Neo does the bullet time. And I was like, what the fuck? And I had to rewind because I had completely, apparently, slept through that whole scene where there's that shootout in the lobby of that building.
Oh, the best scene in the whole movie.
And the volume of it didn't wake me up. There's shit exploding. People are shooting and screaming and jumping around and shit. I was fast asleep, man. So
Yeah. Days full of work will do that to
I'll tell you what. It doesn't happen often, so. But no, apparently, I guess, after they hop in the elevator and we see that tiling fall off of that pillar. So this is reported once again is that was not planned. They went through and they were filming him hop in the elevator, and sure enough, that tile just happened to fall at the right time, and they're like, we fucking love it, and they kept it in.
Wow, yeah. You
Yeah.
got to keep that.
Of course. It's fucking, I don't know if you could plan anything like that better than that, but
I'll tell you what was strangely hot in this movie was that scene in the elevator when, like, he straps into the thing and she just kind of throws her arm around him.
Right.
And they shoot the cable out. I was like, oh, they're going to get it on.
yeah, I think it's because Carrie Ann Moss, we'll just say that she has assets that I appreciate about her, so.
She's gorgeous.
She can make something very sexual very easily. So, I said Christ died, rose again, saved everyone. The one was prophesied about. Okay, so yeah, more religious stuff. Final countdown, pretty epic. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I wrote down this movie would have been a better standalone. So yeah. But yeah, what'd you think of The Matrix, Mike?
Loved it.
Yes, sir.
Point, period. Loved it.
Nothing else to say about it, man. It's a good action movie.
It was really fun. The last 40 minutes, or I guess about 30 minutes of the movie are fucking fantastic.
Right. You do have to just kind of eat the first hour and 20 minutes of that movie or so, because
I'm not mad at it.
No.
I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying it picks up so dramatically.
Right. It does.
At that point.
Yes.
That it makes the first hour, and I like the first hour and 40 minutes. You're right. You do need the story behind all the shit. I get it.
Right.
I get it. But once it hits there, it's like you're cashing your paycheck.
Yes, sir. Yep. You put in the work. Now you're getting paid. So, yeah.
Now we're going shopping.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I actually kind of expected to not enjoy this because it had been my experience that after you kind of get the gist of the movie, that upon repeated viewings, it isn't as good. And so I went into this expecting to enjoy myself, but, you know, it is what it is. It's The Matrix. But I walked away really having a good time with this one. It's a fun movie. It's a good one.
Great.
Yep. Good movie. If you haven't seen it, everybody has, but if you haven't, go watch The Matrix, because it surprisingly has aged really well, I think, for a $63 million movie 20 years ago. So, but, yep. This week, nothing watched, huh?
We've been gorging ourselves with Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah, that picked back up, right?
Well, the final season starts on the 14th, I believe, of April.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to just devour as much of the show's past seasons as we can. And it's mind-blowing how much shit you missed the first time we watched it. Yeah.
Is it
so many clues.
So it's stuff that you could have picked up on had you known to look for.
Yes.
Okay. I got you. Well, that's good.
The show is just so good.
I actually enjoy going through and watching. Like with this, you know, there's certain shit, like that whole thing with Cypher at the beginning. Just little shit. Just when you rewatch something that has layers to it, going back and picking up on stuff. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. This week, like I said, didn't watch much. Last night, I did watch Mulan with the youngin'. And I don't think I've watched Mulan before, actually. By that point, I was kind of over the Disney thing, but I liked it, and the music was pretty good in that movie too. So
yeah, another movie where she could have just been a badass. She didn't have to fall in love.
Oh hell no! I think the Mulan is at her best whenever she's doing warrior shit. You know, that's not a love story. You don't need that. So,
I know almost all the Disney girls have a love interest,
right?
But what's the name of that movie with the Merida, the curly-haired redhead, Irish
Brave,
Scottish girl?
Yeah,
Brave. Like that girl, she doesn't have a love interest.
Right.
Matter of fact, the protagonist for the film is that her dad's trying to marry her off.
Oh.
So that's why she has to do all this. That's why she gets into the adventure she ends up in, because she doesn't want to do that.
I see.
So they actually got it right there.
Haven't seen it, so I don't know.
It's fun.
Yeah, I've heard that. And there you go. What else did I watch? I watched some of Zootopia today. And, you know, been doing kid shit, I guess. I really haven't had time to do much of anything, you know, so.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's what
daddy
life.
Well, I'll tell you what. Somebody kill me, but I'm just messing around. It. No, it's good. It's one of those weird deals though that now that we have Will, he's to a point where I before was getting super inundated whenever he was super young and was needing feedings overnight and stuff like that. But now that he's mobile and he's crawling around, and you really don't want him crawling around on the floor because he's eating hard dirt and shit, you know, so you put him in a walker, but then he's running into your feet while you're doing dishes. I mean, the whole thing, it's pretty obnoxious. I'm not going to lie. He's great, and I love my kids, but damn, you got to chill. So, I went through, I guess I could tell people about my new prescription, Mike.
I mean, yeah, you're not breaking the law.
No, I went through and got my medical card this week for
medical marijuana card.
Yes. So I joke with Taylor all the time. I'm like, oh, Daddy's going to need an extra big dose of medicine tonight, you know. And all this. But, yeah. So it's good times. Good times had by all. So.
I'm glad you're happy.
My last pick, Mike, was... What did I pick?
Some piece of shit, I'm
We
sure.
watched it last week, right? On Her Majesty's. That's what it was.
Oh, right.
No, this one was number one for a while. And it's your pick.
So I was kind of torn about making a pick. I didn't know what I was going to pick. And then it came to me like a message from my computer in MS-DOS. And it said, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Dude, I am so... Ever since I watched this movie... Well, since I've known that it was coming up, I've been wanting to watch Bill and Ted for quite a while. That's a franchise I actually like both installments, probably about the same. I love Bogus Journey, too. They're both great. So
Well, we're watching the first one.
yes.
They
With
did
Napoleon.
recently announce that a third one is coming out.
Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
But the reason why it came to me so clearly, obviously Keanu Reeves is in the movie, but the first time I heard about The Matrix and my friends were like, dude, this movie's fucking sick. Keanu Reeves is killing it in this. He's like a big action star. I was like, the guy from Bill and Ted's?
That guy with the crappy British accent that fought Dracula?
So, yeah,
I hear you.
I was really... so I'm excited to watch it.
There's so much good stuff in here, bro. We get some George Carlin. We get some Sigmund Freud. One of my favorites is Napoleon in that. So I'm extremely excited about this one.
I'm a history nerd. So,
Yeah.
like the way you are with movies, I am with history.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
So I'm pretty excited to, years of more learning more history. I'm kind of excited to see how it lines up with the movie.
I'm anxious to see how long it's been since you've seen this, because this is another one that I own. I have both of them, so I wouldn't say I watch them frequently, but it's been within the last probably 3-4 years I've seen them. So
Well, you have to wait for that answer till next week, Shane.
yes, sir, I do. If you guys would like for us to answer some questions of yours, then you can always email us. Our email address is cheesymovie@yahoo.com. You can check us out at Casino Royale with Cheese, all separate words, on Facebook. You can look us up on the iTunes, on the Instagram, or the YouTube.
I don't
Yeah,
think it's
Casino
called the
Royale
iTunes or the Instagram.
Yeah, that's what we'll
But this
call it.
movie is called The Matrix.
The Matrix. That's Casino Royale W Cheese, all one word. And nobody cares about Twitter. So that is good. And I'm super excited. I'm always down for more Keanu Reeves. We watched that really shitty movie he was in. I think it was, I don't know, it was one where his wife was out of town and these girls said their car broke down and he was like, well, you can use my phone. And then like they were hitting on him and like he had this 3-way with him and all this other. I want to say it was knock or something like that.
What?
But yeah, his acting in it is really bad. Almost as bad as it was in the movie Constantine. So, and that's pretty awful too. But
Well, it's not bad in John Wick and John Wick 2, now available at Amazon Prime Video.
is it?
Yep.
I have yet to check out my new Amazon Prime app that I actually downloaded on my phone. So I'm going to probably try to check that out later, actually.
Should definitely do that.
Yeah, well, they got the Prime Video thing, which they didn't have for a while. It's pretty awesome.
Well, we're sponsored by Amazon, so, we have to make sure we throw it out there.
Thanks, Jeff. Good dude. We'll see you on Tuesday. Lunch. Final thoughts, Mike.
Be kind, rewind.
Be kind, rewind. 20 years ago, I would have, but not today.
Yep.
No, that's, I guess, going to do it for me, man.
Same.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you again for joining us. And be sure you tune in next week as we join Bill and Ted on their excellent adventure. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
I'll be back.